Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about why Palantir is so bad at communicating with investors. I'm sure that this is not an issue that I need to introduce to you, but as I was doing research for other videos, I got this eureka moment that I thought that I would share with you, because the sad truth is that it's not about to change. They will continue to be really bad at communicating to investors, but maybe there's a bigger reason behind it, and maybe it's actually good on the long term that they're doing this. So if you want to find out what that is exactly, stay tuned. And as always, if you like the channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button that is down below. And if you want to go even one step further, you can support the channel by checking out the first link in the description below, which takes you to our Patreon, where you can support the channel for $5 a month and get access to all the valuations on all the stocks that I cover on this channel, and you get access to me and you get my eternal gratitude. So go ahead and check it out. You know, whenever you research Palantir and you talk to people about it, like one of the main things that come up why people don't invest into Palantir is because the CEO is really weird and he doesn't communicate very well to investors. And, you know, the last earnings call, he talked about German philosophy instead of, you know, addressing certain points in the company. And they never really explain exactly what they do and how they're doing it. And it's so hard for investors to understand this. I don't argue this was also a hard point for me to come over. And, you know, I had to watch a lot of videos and research for myself. And this is also what I share with you guys on this channel to understand what really goes on under the hood in Palantir. And to be honest, I still only understand it on a surface level. And I realized that one really good way to keep track of them, because they're not a company like Apple where, you know, you can pick up the cell phone and, you know, try out for yourself how is the ecosystem, or they're not like a Tesla where you can sit in the car and, you know, experience it for yourself. However, I guarantee you that Apple, you don't know the programming of the iPhone, how they program it to do certain things. And it's the same for the autopilot. I'm sure that none of you who watch this know how the AI works and, you know, how it recognizes different things so that the car can drive itself and how it communicates, you know, to its own neural network. And yeah, but you can at least see the product and you can experience it for yourself. And this was my first realization that Palantir is a company that sells intelligence service, you know, that gives people better use of their data. And they are a very high cost product, right? So let's say, I think that their average customer pays them, don't quote me on this, but something like $7 million a year. So if you think about yourself, if you would be investing $7 million, risking it on a software on a whim, you know, like, I just want to see if it works or not. I'm willing to risk it. I think that you would have to expect a, you know, 35, you know, a 5 to 10x return for you to make sense of, you know, throwing that much money at a problem, that then you need to be able to, you know, increase your efficiency at least by that much. Because if you pay 7 million to Palantir and they increase your production with, you know, 7 million, then why bother? Why even risk the money? And I basically realized that one way, you know, the Tesla moment or the iPhone moment, when you can see if they're making progress with the products, is actually their bookkeeping. If you see that the customers, they are, you know, they stay there, they don't churn, they keep buying more every year. And that is exactly what's happening to them. You see that in the government, they have like a net retention of 130%. And, you know, I'm a bit talking off the cuffs here, so don't quote me on the numbers, but it's definitely over 120%. Meaning even if they would stop new sales to companies, so they don't take on any new companies, they would still be growing 20% per year on revenue. That is how I realized that you can actually track that they're really delivering value, because you see it in the numbers and the customers keep coming back. So, but this still doesn't solve the original problem of why are they so bad at communicating with investors. And I honestly think it's intentional. So you look at who is the co-founder of Palantir. One of the co-founders is Peter Thiel. He wrote a book that looks like this. I actually have gone through this book. It's a fantastic book. And he is very big on your business having to be a monopoly. And he says that the good businesses are businesses that don't compete with other businesses. So he gives this example that if you open a restaurant, it's the stupidest investment that you can ever make because you cannot differentiate your restaurant. You know, basically all restaurants are the same, and then it becomes a price competition. And he says that all the businesses that are not monopolies are trying to say that they're monopolies, like, you know, our hamburger is the most special hamburger in town. And all monopolies are trying to say that they're not monopolies because, you know, then they get regulated. So Google actually has a monopoly on online search. And then every time they go into a, you know, congressional hearing, if they're a monopoly, they're like, no, we're just a small fish and we're competing with this and that. And so it's very interesting. And basically Palantir is kind of a monopoly, and they are just very smart about keeping it that way. And to prove this to you, I first want to show you one clip here about somebody asking Alex Karp about going public, why they're not going public, and what has been the hang up. And then we go to the meat of this thing.
So sooner rather than later?
That's true.
Within a year?
I suspect that will be true.
Given the confidential nature of what you do you worry about being a public company?
The problem with being a public company is that it can be culturally corrosive on the inside.
And what do you mean by that?
If you look at Foundry, which is used to power the COVID crisis, or PG, which is powering most Intel services in the world, these products were built over the course of years, and they were derided. Barely anyone wanted to invest in us. We almost went out of business a number of times. And we didn't have somebody in Wall Street, quite frankly, who has no earthly clue what they're talking about, telling us, you can't build this because there's no product or no market for it. But when you're public, their view means a lot more, and it's harder to tell them, hey, look, I know this looks like something no one needs, but they'll need it in 10 years.
So here was the first clue to me, is that they didn't want to go public because, you know, it takes them so long to develop the product, and, you know, they will get a lot of attacks, and, you know, they will be steered away from this company culture of investing a lot of money into products. And if you think about it, what other companies do you know that have invested very heavily, running a minus for, you know, decades or more than a decade, because they were so heavily investing into themselves that later turned out to be, you know, almost monopolies and having moats that, you know, you couldn't overcome? Because essentially, if Palantir can quietly develop, you know, a product that takes 5 years to develop, and then let's say they can run it for 2 more years, then the competition, like let's say now you're at 7 years. So then now the competition has to get investors to invest in them. They need to go like lose money. And at year 12, they will be where Palantir was at year 7. It's an insane moat if you think about it. Then yesterday when I was doing a video, I saw that Alex Karp said this, and it totally made sense. And yeah, I will let you listen to it and I'll give you my final thoughts.
By the way, it's like one of these things you're always annoyed when you're CEO and people like write an article. But quite frankly, we wouldn't be where we are except for these, you know, these articles, because people make no effort to compete with us. You know why? Because they don't understand how well we're doing. And that's really cool. Thank you. Please thank all the people. Every time someone writes something like that, they are making us better. And not for like, because we're, you know, it's not the Nietzschean thing, anything that doesn't kill me makes sense, because, you know, people really look at Palantir and they don't understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I'll tell you.
So this basically made me realize that anytime, you know, when people and analysts and Wall Street don't understand what they're doing, they basically manage to fly under the radar, and it's only the smart investors who, you know, put in the time and do the research, like you and me, that get them. And basically this helps them just build this, because their moat is getting bigger and bigger, and it becomes harder and harder to compete with them on, you know, the AI intelligence, both with the government and with companies. And I think it's fantastic. And the moment I understood this, I also understand that this is not going to change, because if they actually explain what they do and they explain how good they're doing, and, you know, they start PRing themselves and telling investors that, you know, you need to invest in us because we're going to be $1 trillion company, immediately they're going to create their own competition, which would ruin their monopoly. Let me know if you think the same way as I'm thinking. I think it's actually very good for the company. It gives me a lot of work to, you know, explain to you guys, the viewers, what Palantir does. Yeah, it's awesome. Keeps my channel alive, but I don't think it's ever going to change. They're always going to be bad at communicating what they do, and that's just how Palantir is. And if you can't have it, then don't invest in Palantir. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.